As creators, new or old, comparison is something that will happen to us all at some point in time. We're human. It always happens. But I think when you master the muscle of being able to recognize when it is happening so you can pull yourself out of that funk a lot faster, it will serve you better. It's actually a really hot topic for me, and I try to encourage people as much as I can to recognize the signs when comparison does creep in, because all it's going to do is lock you into a state of procrastination where you can't propel yourself, you can't propel your art, your skills forward. You just get stuck. If you're in a situation where you have a 9-to-5 job that you're working, you're doing content creation on the side, whether it's professionally, whether it's a hobby, and you're also looking at everyone's content a large portion of the time and then comparing what you're doing now to what they're able to do, you're not going to really make the most of the practice and the time that you need to put into it to improve your skills, but instead you're just going to lock yourself into a state where it becomes more and more difficult for you to put anything out, because now you're seeking perfection, you're seeking advanced skills that you've not acquired yet because you've not put in enough time to practice the craft, to find your creative style. And it's a huge trap that I see a lot of people fall in. One of the reasons that I think it's also a huge detriment is because you don't know what's going on, what's happened, what the life experiences are, what resources certain creators have access to that you don't. You don't see any of that behind the scenes because it's not talked about always. Not that it needs to be, but it's important to remember that maybe the people that you see their content and you get inspired by, maybe they've been doing this for a decade before they decided to hop onto social media. Maybe they've just been doing it for a decade on social media, so they've already worked through all the kinks that they need to. They found their groove, they found their creative style. Now, you've just found them and you see where they are and it looks amazing and you want your work to be there already, but you're just starting. So you're comparing yourself to people who have been in it maybe years ahead of you. You're just starting in your journey and you're expecting just kind of to put out gold right from the get-go. But you haven't actually worked on the skill. You haven't gone through the ups and downs of what works, what doesn't work, which is all critical in order to be able to grow. It's all critical in order to find your own creative style, because being inspired by someone doesn't mean imitating someone else. In the end, trying to do that, one, it won't serve you well. People will know it's not authentic to you, and you'll know it because it won't feel good. It's also important to understand that some people just have different resources available to them than you do. Sometimes they've worked in other professions where they've saved up financially in order to be able to support themselves through the times that they're going to pursue their content creation goals, whether that be to grow their personal brand with their content creation or to grow their business for whatever products or services they have. So they'll be financially equipped to weather any storms that they come across if they're not working on any projects that are paying them in general. Because brand deals are not always something that everyone is doing. Brand deals are not something that consistently come to creators. It's a lot harder to get brand deals because it requires a lot of skills on knowing how to market yourself, knowing how to negotiate rates with brands in order to be compensated well for the work that you produce, for the quality of work that you produce. A lot of times people have made certain sacrifices in their lives in order to be able to do the things that they do, go the places that they go, and have certain equipment that they utilize or they showcase in their content. And sometimes, they haven't left home, and so they have people helping with their basic needs to get those things met, and they just have to focus on everything else. I'd like to see more people figuring out that taking all these other things into account when you start to compare yourself is critical, so that way you pull yourself out of it faster. So I'd be curious to hear from other people, other creators, if you find yourself falling into the comparison trap more often than you'd like to, or if you've already kind of worked the muscle. I won't say mastered it because it's a work in progress always, but if you've already worked the muscle well to figure out, hey, I'm falling into the comparison stage and now I need to get out, so you can keep going and keep practicing your skill and improving it.